New this week from DC Comics, The Batman First Night, written by Dan Jurgens, art by Mike Perkins. The Batman First Night is a stylized Gothic exploration of a Gotham of yesteryear. Set in 1939 with the city abuzz about the possibilities of war overseas and rampant civil unrest from the recent rise of radical political groups. Was that a tongue twister? Political groups like the Nazis, which seems crazy, but, you know, they're still around. We also find a Gotham plagued by the recent graphic murders of several high-profile political figures. Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins immediately ground the typically evocative city with classic, almost photorealistic imagery and poignant historicism, which turns this comic from just another genre-bending DC Black Label series into a deliberate and effective re-envisioning of the character's mythos. I have to say that while I was reading this, I was reminded of Spider-Man Noir, which I love, by the way, but this feels like a little bit more serious in tone, deliberately avoiding name drops or high-profile character inclusions, which I thought was the right choice. It makes this narrative feel separate and unique. That isn't to say that this comic doesn't have the grandiose action and imagery that we've all come to know and love from Batman comics, as we see dynamic splash pages and dynamic fight sequences with bold, flashy colors from Mike Spicer that feel just reminiscent enough of the Adam West Batman era to be charming. If you are looking for a thoughtful reimagining of the Batman's early years, and a return to his more simple cape and cowl detective mythos, you will find no better offering than this gorgeous magazine-sized format comic. Also, I love that it seems like thematically we're diving into old Hollywood Hammer horror territory, with a mystery involving otherworldly creatures and strange cults. It's like Dan wrote this explicitly to check off all of my boxes. Alright, now it's time to talk about issue number 1 with some spoilers. So as I mentioned, First Night begins with a bizarre murder, as Jim Gordon arrives at the crime scene to find the decapitated body of a local politician at an Italian restaurant. The old man is escorted from the scene by Playboy Bruce Wayne in his fancy new car as onlookers and local policemen disparage Bruce for flaunting his wealth. We learn that in this universe, Bruce lives alone, so no Alfred, but Gordon acts as his sort of mentor figure, having been there since the tragic murder of his parents. We then see Bruce arrive at the quintessential Batcave, which in this universe is a warehouse by the docks. I really love the simplified, gritty, hands-on aesthetic that this era implies for the character of Batman. Like, we see Bruce's house with table after table of cluttered lab equipment, and we see various lights wired for different doors and rope pulleys suspending larger inventions. There's such a classic, literary, old-world quality to the whole thing. It's really like we shook up the Bat computer and poured out the contents to make a mess. Next, we finally get to see the fabled Batman in action, as he crashes through the mayor's mansion's skylight just in time to stop two lumbering, zombified goons from murdering the city leader. Where we get a fight scene where the Batman is actually using his utility belt to throw little smoke bombs, and I don't know, it made me so giddy, I almost threw up. I also like that the Batman loses this fight, like the thugs just straight up throw him off the roof. And the whole fray is just a pulp horror delight with vivid, colorful backsplashes and lightning strikes in the rain. It feels like a more adult episode of Scooby-Doo and the Batman or something. The Batman is then sheltered by your friendly neighborhood rabbi, who the Batman is able to confide in and share his vision of a better Gotham too. It's a great example of how grounded this world feels while still being stylized and entertaining. Then after getting intel from a local, semi-honest pimp, the Batman allies himself with Gordon and makes his way to Blackgate Prison, where an execution is taking place. Prison is where he suspects the mastermind behind the murders is able to obtain his zombified servants. However, in the ensuing battle, the Batman is apprehended by the prison guards and inadvertently fried in the electric chair. It is a shocking cliffhanger ending for this nostalgic superhero noir, and I for one cannot wait to find out what happens next. I just love this entire page. It feels like I'm watching a Clark Gable movie directed by Frank Capra or something. And I love that we're not skimping on the horror imagery. I mean, this is like something straight out of Tales from the Crypt. There he is. Love the subtle costume change too, the slightly longer ears, the purple gloves, the utility belt, the cleats. He's much more tactical. But yeah, I think it was this page that I really fell in love. Goes to show that even something classic can be effective if done well. Imagery like this feels like a love letter to Marv Wolfman or Kelly Jones. This is Batman for Batman lovers. The Batman First Night has certainly cemented its aesthetic and premise for the fans like myself. I mean, I could read entire volumes of mysteries like this. Remember to support your local comic book store and grab The Batman First Night, out now.